Hi everyone, it's Fez here, and today's video I want to talk about how you can be able to tailor your CV to a job that you're applying for. So if you follow me here on YouTube as well as on my social media platforms, I'm always there saying if you are applying for a job, make sure that you tailor your CV to a job that you're applying for. That you shouldn't just use one CV for all the jobs that you're applying for. Now, there's a reason to this, and I'll delve deep into it. But now, let me just explain what I mean by saying you should match your job to each CV. Simply, it's all about you mirroring the language of the vacancy. Okay, so it's not about like you have to change everything in your CV. You just have to change a few things here and there. So that's what you have to do. But also, it's not like you have to lie just for you to match the job vacancy. No, the idea is you should just write something that will somehow be captivating, something that like when the recruiter sees your CV, they can be able to say, okay, let's call this guy or let's call this lady for interviews. So that's what I want to do in this video, just to explain what you can be able to do. So there are dangers as well as benefits for doing this, for this approach towards job application. So the dangers for this job application approach, you may not apply for many jobs, because if you are to tailor your CV to each job, and then you find out like maybe you're not 40% qualified for that job, likely there will not be much for you to be able to change in your CV. So you may not apply for many jobs. That's the main danger or drawback of this approach. And the other drawback for this approach is, I mean, it's a little more work. Like in each CV, I mean, in each job application, you have to work towards changing it. So there's a lot of more work for you to do. So I would say that's one of the drawbacks. Now, there are also benefits for this approach towards job application. The first one is you'll be able to increase your chances of being called for interviews. That's the first one. I mean, that's why we're even applying for jobs, is it? Like we all want to be called for interviews. And then the second one is you will get good at editing your CV. Okay, what can I change here? What should I change? So those are the benefits as well as the dangers of this approach towards job application. Now, let me explain what this is. What you're trying to do is you're trying to mirror the language in the job vacancy and the language in your vacancy in your CV for them to match. Not like everything like 100%, but they have to match. Now, I'll give an example like at the end of this video just for you guys to make sense of whatever I'm saying. But the idea is for you to just mirror what they said and what you're putting in your CV. Also, one thing that you have to know, like with this approach, one thing that you're trying to do is you're trying to make sure that the recruiters or the HR personnel or whoever is reviewing your CV, they should be able to see the key things from the like first page, or simply saying you should highlight the key things that are needed. So that's what you have to do. So what I'll do is I'll tell you like a little bit of a story of how I got about to apply for this job and what I did, and then I'll show you like the job vacancy. I'll show you my old CV, and then I'll show you my new CV that I used to apply, and then I was called for interviews. So around this time, I wasn't employed. I saw this vacancy in the paper, and I was like, okay, let me apply for this one. So my field is procurement and logistics and supply chain. So what happened was, prior to this job application, I was working as a procurement officer in one of the non-government organizations in Malawi. So when I was like, most of my duties were to do with procurement as well as logistics. Now, what happened was, this vacancy that I want to talk about was fleet management. So it had to talk about a little bit about logistics or fleet management or vehicle management. So now I have here my CV, which says I'm a procurement officer, but I'm trying to apply for something that says fleet management officer. So you can see like a little bit different in a way, but I still had an idea of what they wanted as a fleet management officer. So this is what I did. So what I'll do now is I think I'll put the vacancy for you to see. So yeah, I'm sure you can now see the vacancy. If you're seeing this vacancy, is more to do with fleet management and vehicle management and everything, things like those. So this was the vacancy that came out. But then I'll now show you my old CV. Now, this is my old CV. So in this CV, if you're able to see, I'm just talking about procurement. I was doing acquisition. I was doing ABCD. Like, it's mainly focusing on procurement. Now, when I was applying for this job, which said fleet management officer, I did not change the role that I had to say, oh, no, I was working as a fleet management officer for me to match this. No, I didn't have to lie. I still said I was working as a procurement officer, but then I had to change the roles. Now, also, you should also understand that the roles, it's not like I lied about whatever I was putting in the new CV. No, everything was was very true. So now I'll show you like the new CV that I revamped for me to match. So this is the new CV, as you can see. I'm talking a little bit more about fleet management, about logistics, about vehicle management, something to match what they want in the in the vacancy. So if you're able to see like this is kind of like matching, or when I say like you should tailor your CV to match a job, this is what I really mean. So I hope you can make sense of this. So yeah, I hope you guys have learned something from this. So yeah, for each job application that you're doing, just make sure that you tailor it for it to match the job application that you're applying for at that moment. So you really don't have to change everything. You can just change like 2 things or 3 things. You don't have to change the whole CV. Yeah. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.